4-2-2 is one of the best tactics inside the game. We know the 4-2-1-3 is up there, but we're seeing more and more use cases of the 4-2-2. And as I said, the 4-4-2 and 4-2-2 have always been more effective, but I think people want a bit more of an attacking stance. And the 4-4-2, people struggle with it. And I said to you before, is mainly the center mids. They're not CDMs. They sit a bit too high. So that is why more and more people are leaning towards the 4-2-2. If you've known, I've liked this formation from day one. In fact, one of my first tactics videos that I still use to this day is the 4-2-2. I can guarantee you'll improve an FC25. I have an FC25 School Series, but before you skip ahead, what if I told you I can guarantee you'll get better, or if you don't, I'll refund your money? I can say this because I've been running my school for many years and thousands of people have joined and even stay on. We go over complete in-depth gameplay tutorials showing you the theory of something and showing you gameplay examples in a structured format, unlike my YouTube channel, which is just all over the place. We also started a series from Division 10 all the way to Elite Division, showing you every single game from Division 10 to the Elite Division, basic gameplay, so you can copy it and see how to get to the Elite Division so easily. The video is on a progressive systematic learner system, teaching you everything from the core mechanics to the meta so you can get better as a whole, with explanations that go beyond the scope of even my YouTube channel. So come join thousands of others in a mature audience community for those looking to get better at FC. Patreon.com/NilGuys, or click the link down below. We upload videos every single week with adjusting to the new recent updates and patches so you can stay up to date and ahead of your competition. Now, when you join, we have a library of hundreds of videos, more than my YouTube videos, in fact, with new FC25 videos getting uploaded on a regular basis, so you never run out of content. The biggest mistake people do is they spend thousands of dollars each year on FIFA points thinking this will make them a better player, but it won't. But now it's time to make that change. And don't forget, I guarantee you'll improve, and if you don't get better after 1 month, I'll refund your money. That's the Nil Guys guarantee. Click the link down below in the description, patreon.com/NilGuides. With the 4-2-2, one of the reasons why I like it is I generally like putting one of my players on a poacher and one on an advanced forward. The reason why I do it is I like those two different types of movements. A lot of people don't even know what advanced forward does. Do you know what advanced forward does? People just use it because they see everyone else using it. But I personally like, especially if you like to abuse the first time through balls, poacher is probably one of them I think is actually better than advanced forward in terms of movement. I like advanced forward if I need to pass the ball and do those quick 1-2 passes or those tiki-takas inside the boxes. But I honestly like both. And that's the benefit with two strikers. I can basically have a system like this and still be fine. Now, one thing you could do, I'll give you another quick tip. You could actually do something like this, a false 9. Now, hear me out. This would be like a 4-2-2 or 4-4-2, but think of it like a 4-4-1-1 in some ways. So if you like the 4-2-2, and you like the 4-2-3-1 and you want a halfway point, this is very important, you could do something like this. Because with the false 9, it basically plays behind the strikers when you're attacking, right? So let's say you have a poacher, like something like that. They're going to be just slightly standoffish, but they're going to be more importantly behind. So that is something that you can consider. Otherwise, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Just put them, but one of them on poacher, one of them advanced forwards. Now, I think the real key with this formation is a lamb and a ram, okay? I think ideally at this stage of the year, you should be going towards players with plus. I think because the AI, people think there's been shadow patches, but the reason why is because people have got better pace, better defensive awareness. Better defensive awareness you have, the better marking you're going to have in theory. So all those things post-patch are really making a big difference. I'll be honest, I think in terms of movement now, minimum you should be going towards a 1+, ideally going for plus. Now, if you could use half winger, now one thing I want to say is if you use half winger, at this point you might as well just use a 4-4-2. I can understand why you might want to use a half winger, but I think the key with this formation and the real benefits you have is by putting them both on playmakers. Now, we're not making this attack in a 4-3-5-2 or anything like that. That'll actually come in tomorrow's video where I do a combination tactics. But you can see with the playmakers, the benefit is you defend in that 4-4-2. But also when you're attacking that 4-4-2, they're just a bit more narrow. They're not in the middle, although it's depicted here that they're in the middle. But basically, they stand about in this region. I'm going to insert a clip here now. This is perfect if you like to use those cams to do finesse shots because they're not too far away and wide down the wings where you might, for example, want to go down the byline and cut the ball in, but they're still involved in the attack. The benefit of Playmaker is that they come back and they help you defensively. Now, what I would do, but again, you have to be really a top-tier elite player now here. I'll put them both on Shadow Striker. In fact, you see a lot of top-tier players doing this as well. The problem is then you're left to your own devices. If you play a 4-2-3-1, you have your left wing and right wing on inside, forward, roaming or attack, and they stay forward, This could be something that you could try because effectively you're left to your own devices and you're defending with your two CDMs, which is fine. Your CDMs, they sit a bit deeper. And then you're attacking with your four on a counterattack. So if you like to play that counterattack system and you want two strikers, you could go with something like this. But as I said, for most people, I think it's probably a bit too attacking. But for those of you that are elite players already, maybe give that a consideration. Now for the two CDMs, I personally go with holding. You can use deep line playmaker. You could have both of them on deep line playmaker, or you could have a mixture of both. I think a mixture of one holding, one deep line playmaker is really, really good. I like those. You see, when two players are together, when one's just a bit behind or one's just a bit in front, you kind of get a bit more of the attacking options because let's say there's two players in line together and your opponent's playing a 4-4-2 with two centre mids. You see, you kind of marked player for player, but if one just sits just back near your defensive line, then when your opponent's marking, you're going to have a little bit of space for the other player. Or sometimes what happens is you have space to move forward through your defensive line as well. So that is one of the key benefits is you also split your opponent a bit defensively as well. But you could use hold. I personally prefer holding, but I understand why people like deep line playmaker because they sit deeper. So in theory, when you lose the ball, because don't forget, deep line playmaker, they drop deep when you have the ball in your possession. But statistically speaking, if you think about it, most goals are conceded from counterattack. So if you lost the ball, because that player is going to be in a more reserved position, it's going to be easier for you to defend. So that is why a lot of people, although they don't like the deep line playmaker positioning per se, they like it because they sit more deeper and a bit more reserved. But I personally like holding. I think with the left backs and right backs, because you don't have, and this is important, because you don't have the wider players, we've gone with fullback balanced here. If you can get a fullback balance plus, I think is really, really good. I would not go towards anything else. With wing back, it can be sometimes a bit too aggressive. You would only know that yourself if you can use that. I'd rather you much just trigger them yourself. Otherwise, if you really can't deal with it, just put them on fullback defend. That way, you will never get counterattacked. You will never get taken. The only thing I would say with fullback balanced is, and this is more for the higher level now, when you're attacking in possession, those players are a bit more forward. So if your opponent has a left wing, let's say you have Mbappe here, your opponent can do a player lock and just get the ball in between the half space between your right centre back and your right back. So really pace here is one of the most important things. But the difference between this formation and like a 4-2-1-3, as I've always explained to you, is just a two strikers. So whether you use any, to be honest, they're all very, very similar. Let's say it's 4-2-3-1. What's the difference here is you have two strikers. This is similar to the 4-2-1-3 actually, except for you have cams. Some people prefer cams instead. But as I was mentioning, the real benefit is that you have two strikers. A lot of people in the final, so if you're in a final third and you find that your striker is isolated and you've got no one around him, then this could be definitely the formation to go with. So this is what I'd recommend. Something like this would be a good balance. Advanced 4++, and you could have a mixture, for example, poacher, and then two playmaker cams, at least to come back a little bit. Two holdings, what I prefer. Balance on left back and right back. Pace is what's king right now. It still is. Think about how many times you get beaten with your left back and right back. How many times you get beaten with through balls. The more pace you have, the more. I don't have to even watch your gameplay. I can just tell you can see less goals. Especially the Jockey Playstyle Plus can make a big, big difference. So ignore the name over there. That would be the code. For the build-up style, definitely would recommend counters. So when you get the ball, those players make those runs going forward. So they just stay there. With balance, they just stay there. They're very static. I don't like it. I want the best movement. And unfortunately, AI movement, maybe because defensive awareness for opponents have gone better, it's not the same. So although it's not a shadow patch, it's because player stats and all these things have changed. That's why the game feels different. I feel the difference in the game, but it's not a shadow patch, if to understand that. The defense approach, I've gone with 70. I've been explaining for the last couple of weeks, so most of you guys know what my opinion is on this. But if anyone that's new here, what I wanted to say is, adjust this for your playstyle. I think 70 is a good combination. You need to know how to defend. If you're watching this in your Division 5, you should be seriously considering something else, or maybe at least have two variations of this. One where we'll go over this in tomorrow's setup, but you can have one which is a bit more balanced and one that's high. With high, the benefit is the defensive lines sit higher up. It's easier for you to press the ball. It's easier for you to win the ball back, but of course you'll be susceptible to the counter attack. So that's something that I'd recommend. In my Division 10 to Elite Division series, I've just showed 70 depth. I showed the benefits of it. So that's the reason why I've kept it on 70. And tomorrow's video, what we'll do is we'll go over the 3-5-2 in the 4-2-2 system, a more passive version of this, and one that converts into a 4-2-1-3 as well if you want the complete setup. That will be in tomorrow's video. But that would be the 4-2-2 tactics. I actually genuinely like it. I would say the best combination would be to play this. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek here, but play this alongside, for example, a 4-4-1-1 or 4-2-1-3. I think that is where this formation really comes in check, because you can make this a bit more attacking by having 2 strikers. Something just to bear in mind. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace.